Hey YouTube, Nomad76 here. Going to make a video today. Is a video response to the Commspreppers 10,000 subscriber giveaway. Before you hear is going to be some of the equipment that I'm going to show you, basically what I have, and then try to briefly cover some of it, how I plan on using it, or how I do use it in the event of emergency or just for everyday use. First off will be the Uniden Bearcat 580 single sideband, and we'll be playing around with the 11 meter area, trying to, with the dipole antenna hooked up out here, which I need to tune first, which I won't cover that because I don't want this video to be 15-20 minutes long. And then following is some of the 2 meter, 70 meter Baofeng radios that I have, and then a scanner, and which are not there, and a shortwave radio. And then of course there is my trusty little backup solar generator pack that I built a while ago. It's off the shelf, but I kind of adapted it. And then of course I got the Nomad little Goal Zero set up here just to show some of the ways you could power your stuff in an emergency. So let me get set up and we'll continue. Okay, so got the Uniden set up. Now normally I do have this mounted in a vehicle, but currently, well, the last vehicle it was mounted in, but I was involved in an accident, so replace that vehicle, and now I just got to get it mounted back up in there and get the antenna all configured. So right now hooked up to the dipole. Well, actually I have disconnected with the dipole right at the moment. Tune the dipole the best I could in the environment it's in. It's less than ideal. There's trees, buildings, cinder block walls, small backyard. For this video, it was the best I could accomplish without having to, trek out into the desert and try to find a good place to set up there. I have done that in the past, and it was a real challenge finding some place to mount the antenna. Good thing about doing this is I did determine that one of my coaxial cables that I had set up for was bad. Probably a bad ground. It was one I built. I bought a large 100-foot length, and I've built a couple cables out of it. So I've got to double check the connectors on those to make sure that I've got good grounds and good solders on them. So that I have in the vehicle before, just with the whip antenna on single sideband, using the what's considered like the 11 meter band to some people. Have talked all the way to California. Now I'm sure I'm getting skip. That's nothing, all factory, no mods, no amplifiers, none of that. So it is possible to get decent range out of a CB radio. I know obviously you might as well just, for the money, sometimes you might as well just go and get your license and start working with high freak and on the amateur bands. But it is something that I've grown up with, and so it's something I know and I continue to kind of play around with. And so on top of that, just kind of add to my whole emergency communications equipment here, I have a Uniden Bearcat BC7 XLT handheld scanner. I have the Grundig G3 Global Traveler shortwave radio, which allows me to monitor obviously all your high frequency bands, FM, all kinds of different good stuff. Now granted, obviously it's not as good as some of the big ones that allow you to monitor about every frequency known to man, but and then of course I have 2 Baofengs that I currently obviously can only use for monitoring, not transmitting, because I am not in possession of a license, and it is on my list of no later than the end of this year. So I've been messing around and kind of just learning all I can about amateur radio for the last 2 years plus now, I guess, and it's time that I actually stop messing around and get my license. So I hope to move forward with that. And one last thing I want to add to my equipment, which I think is extremely important, is a emergency communications plan book. It's got group communication stuff in it and a lot of other stuff printed off the internet. So therefore, if you're not you don't have internet because of natural disaster or whatever scenario you want to create, you have that information in print you can use, and I do have backups of that on disk, so that you know, yeah, hopefully you still can use your computer, but maybe you don't have internet. But you could still look at it on a computer or a smartphone. I have some of those files saved on my phone. And another thing I made is these little cards that I laminated. They've got the program frequencies that like they're in the scanner, and then the Grundig over here, the shortwave radio, so on and so forth. So that pretty much covers it. The next part, just I'll roll into, I wanted to make this shorter, sorry, is just how I would utilize the 3 items that you've presented as giveaway items. So when we come back, we'll discuss. Okay, so let's wrap this up. First prize, what would I do with first prize? Well, Chameleon antenna there, that dipole antenna setup seems like a really nice, obviously I don't own one, but based off of videos that you've done, Commsprepper, and other videos I've actually seen with people using, maybe not that exact model, but one made by Chameleon, it seemed like good antennas. Initially I could probably use that to mess around with the 11 meter bands with my single sideband CB radio, and then move on from there and hopefully get into HF with the amateur license once I get to that point. So I could definitely see a use for that in my emergency communications equipment and just everyday use, especially if I really get into this as a hobby. And then second prize, the Kenwood radio mobile setup. I could see myself either mounting it in my vehicle, especially if I get my technician's class license. I really could see myself using that on a day-to-day basis, along with the I'd probably leave my CB in there just because it's, like I said, it goes back, grew up around them, and just kind of I like them, whatever. So, and then or putting it inside as a mobile base in the house, and have a home mounted 2 meter antenna. So last prize, silver. I'll always take silver. In fact, I do have some silver myself, and I'd be happy to add it to my my little depository. So thanks for watching. Hope this wasn't too long. Thanks for doing this contest, and congratulations, Commsprepper. You have a great channel. You deserve every subscriber you have. I hope that your channel continues to do well.